the meeting to order. It is Wednesday, August 17, 2022. It's about 7:01 a.m. For the attendance, we have everybody here except for Councilmember Murphy, who is unable to attend today. Purpose of the meeting today is a continuation of our council budget workshop for 2023. We've got a few items that we got to hit on the agenda, and I have to leave at 7:30 for an appointment, so I'll just turn the meeting over to the vice mayor at that time. And we're going to work our way down through the process here. The one item that I did not have at the last meeting was the auditors. And Brad from Opto has said the number needs to be $18,600. So that's up from 17,000. So the rest of the numbers are already plugged in from the last meeting. Now for today, we've got a few items to talk about, but there's a couple that are not listed. One of them is donations, and the donations would be Wanigan Days and the Lighting Festival, so we should probably discuss that. The other item that I've got that I can plug in, and it's from Mary Murphy, she sent an email, and it's from the library board. The library board budget, they want to set at $15,000. And I'm sure a lot of that's based on inflation, also for purchases of books. That's up from $12,900. The CERT team, according to Mary, they want that set at $1,000. That's where it's been set in past years. They're looking at some additional equipment and supplies. That's up from $100. So library board, $15,000, CERT group, $1,000, auditors, $18,600. So I'm gonna back up and let's hit donations, because it's not listed. Wanigan Days. Now, we all know that Wanigan Days has now been taken over by the chamber. There's still
No,
dollars.
not yet.
Well, not yet, okay. Well, we'll see what
I
happens.
hope so.
Wanigan Days, right now, we contribute $1,500 to Wanigan Days and the Lighting Festival. And so I'm pretty flexible on this. Do we want to leave it the same? Do we want to increase it? Do we want to eliminate it? What does the council want to do? So, any thoughts on this?
Well, you know what, maybe we should just keep it the same. I think we should participate in it. You know, it is a two-town festival, and, you know, 1,500 I think is a fair number.
Okay, and so would that $1,500 to Wanigan Days actually go to the chamber, or would it stay in the pot that the Taylor's Falls Wanigan Days Committee has currently?
Leave it in the pot until a change is made.
So is this a combination of Wanigan Days and Lighting Festival, or just Wanigan Days?
You know, in the past, I've said, how do you give $1,500 to Wanigan Days and not give $1,500 to the Lighting Festival? I would say both, is my opinion.
So we're looking at 3,000.
That'd be 3,000, that would be the same then.
Gotcha.
Thoughts on that for our Lighting Festival, you're okay with that?
The same, yes.
You're okay with that, Ross? Okay,
Yep.
so we're gonna leave that the same, that's $1,500 each, total of $3,000 for donations. Okay, so I'm going to, already hit the CERT group. So now we're gonna go into employee benefits. And we have had discussions in the past about employee benefits. We do not offer health insurance benefits. We have not for over 20 years since I've been in office. There was a time where we actually paid a stipend, but that ended back when Joe Everson was the city clerk treasurer, because we found out from the state of Minnesota that it's either give them the health insurance or don't pay them because you cannot give them a stipend. That's not legal anymore. So what the council was able to do was increase their pay. So we changed their hourly amount to reflect that $500 benefit at that time, so that they didn't lose that benefit. They just got pay raises, and it's been that way for probably the last, I don't know how many years, Mary? 12 years, 15 years?
I would imagine.
It happened before you came here.
It did, and while I was Marine, so.
Exactly.
It was taken away at that time.
Everybody got a pay raise instead of that. So we don't offer the benefits. We found that people didn't need it. It's very expensive. We just didn't want to go down that road for a small employer, and we're not required to. Okay, so I'm gonna turn to personnel liaisons. You've got administration, so recommendations, that'd be Ross and Larry.
If you want to do just generalizing, we went through everything yesterday. There's a few pluses and minuses, but I think in the end, it's pretty much neutral. Don't you think, Larry?
Yeah, we did not have a figure for para for the
staff plugs that in once they've got the numbers for the pay raises.
Yep.
And then, there was a couple of questions as we were going through this. Item 433, dues, subscriptions, and books. We didn't have too much information on exactly what that was, even though we did budget $2,000 for it.
So when I looked into it last night, that's where she took the Banyan.
Okay, that's right.
From, so when, for the subscriptions, I guess basically for Banyan, but I would have thought we should put that under, repairs, maintenance, and equipment, but that's totally up to you, however you wanna do it. In the past, it's always been 500, so I'm not sure why it's switched. And I wanna say, I didn't write it down here, Banyan was 1680 is what we paid last year.
Okay,
And so I think that's why the 2,000 was there. So I would recommend dropping that back down to 500 and then keeping your repairs, maintenance, and equipment at the 3,200.
So Banning was paid out of which fund previously?
In the past, I believe it was out of the repairs, maintenance. Last year, it was taken out of dues, subscriptions, and books.
And it's 1680?
1680 is what you guys paid last year.
1,680?
1,680.
Okay.
Okay,
okay, so based on that, what we had done yesterday was in repairs, maintenance, and equipment, which we budgeted $3,200 last year, we dropped that down to 2,000, so the recommendation now is to put it back up to 3,200,
Correct.
okay? And then, back down on subscriptions, and put that at 500,
Correct.
okay?
okay. And does that fall under administration?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So have you talked about pay raises? And that would apply to administration and public works.
Yep. Do you want me to do it really quick here?
Go ahead, Russ.
Because of the inflation and everything, put it this way, for the following year, this is just a starting point. If we gave everybody a 6.5% raise, that's about $2 an hour. So it's up for discussion on if you wanna do more or less, or what your opinion is on it, or just a starting point.
Got real quiet when you said $2 an hour.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that? Larry, your personnel, go ahead.
Well, like Ross said, we based it on, estimated inflation at 6.5%. So, that is basically, cost of living, in current terms, and, current percentages. And so, we agree that this is what we should do.
And so that's $2 an hour for each employee, all 4 employees.
Correct.
Okay. Bob, go ahead.
If you wanna do 7%, it'd be, this is, by the way, we put them all together, averaged them.
Mhm.
So if you did 7%, it'd be $2.22. And I think if you did 8, it would be roughly, probably $2.50. Just a minute. Yeah, $2.54. So anyway, it's up for discussion.
So do we figure right now, Larry, the rate of inflation is 6.5%?
Well, it's just under 9% now.
Okay.
It was 9.1, but it's coming down, so now it's, 8.9.
Okay.
So, which has really made a big difference at the pumps in the grocery store, that's for sure. So,
So like I say, it's up for discussion. It's
Okay.
just a starting point.
no, I agree, I'm fine. So thoughts on that, Troy?
I think 6.5% is good. I think it's a good start. We haven't heard anything from the employees, from any of the liaisons, that things are, more or less difficult for them at this point financially, or, nobody said anything.
I've never heard anybody complain ever.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and everybody is always willing to take a pay raise.
Well, yes, yeah, that's true.
Never had anybody, no, we're gonna reject that. Okay, so we'll fill in $2 an hour times 4 employees, and I know that Opdo is making good progress on the bank reconciliations. It's taking a long time because there's some issues. They are also making some progress on fund balances because Mary was telling me yesterday that the fire department fund balance is about $107,000. And at one time, we had no idea where it was. Ross and I kept saying, but there's $70,000 that we levied for 2022. Well, that 2022 levy is not in the fund balance yet or credited toward it. So the fire department would have, almost $190,000, $180,000 in their fund balance toward a new truck. And it's not the fire department, it's the capital equipment fund.
Right.
So somewhere around $180,000. We'll have that exact number in the near future. Mary's working on that and with Obdo, so it's getting closer. They're not there. Okay, so we got $2 an hour.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is it gonna be 6.5% or just $2 an hour?
I heard $2 an hour is what I heard.
Okay. I just wanted to verify, cause we did both, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I know that each person makes a little different hourly amount, so $2 an hour is a bigger percentage than for other people.
Okay.
Everybody's, generally speaking, everyone is fairly close.
They are within a couple dollars an hour.
If I can, since we're on this, have the employees in the past then, taken it upon themselves to find coverage, healthcare coverage,
Yes.
just all on your own?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's usually through a spouse, because the spouse will have coverage, they're on an employer group plan, and so, example, Mary could be on her husband's plan.
Okay,
In
okay,
Joe's
so-
case, she was on her husband's plan. In Mike's case, he was on his wife's plan.
Okay,
So that's what
so
we had.
it's just worked out pretty well for everybody
Yeah,
at this point.
and we've not been approached for health insurance benefits, not recently anyways, so. Okay, so we've got $2 an hour plugged in, and ideally, Mary can get those numbers, and I'll assist Mary with that for plugging in numbers so that we can ideally have a budget report that we're actually looking at, so we can make sure we haven't missed a fund somewhere, and then also see what it's gonna do to our overall budget. So we've always tried to hold the line on spending. The goal was always no increases, but flat. We've done a good job over 20 years. We've had two pretty insignificant increases. One was about 1%. That was thanks to Governor Pawlenty taking away LGA money. The other one was somewhere in the area of 0.2% or something like that. So pretty insignificant. Our tax rate is down about 40%, so. Okay, so let's look at the fire department. So, that's you, Troy.
It is, I have not had a chance to meet with Jake,
Okay.
so I would appreciate it if we could move that to the next meeting.
Okay.
That would be all right, because I would like to sit down with him before we.
It's probably a good idea rather than tell him what the numbers are. Okay, so we'll wait on the fire department.
Is there any discussion, concern on anything in the fire department right now that anybody's brought up?
Good point. I've got one question on that. I know last year that medical expenses went from $3,000 to $10,000. And I'm not sure if that was based on medical runs, because I know we kind of take a whopping for medical runs because we're not able to recover dollars when we make a medical run. It's one of the reasons why we bought the special equipment truck, the pickup truck that we have. It's a lot less expensive to run that on a medical run than a fire truck. So that was a good move to use that, but we're still making medical runs to certain individuals and we're not getting paid for it. And so I wasn't sure if that increase was to cover medical runs or if it was for like medical treatment. Because if it was for medical treatment, I would say we have insurance for medical treatment, so I'm not sure why. So I don't disagree with it, I just not
Okay.
sure.
All right,
So if we know what that is, that'd be helpful. And if it's for medical runs, then how much of it have we actually spent? And I know you won't know, it'll come out in our report once we're able to get all the accounts put together. Okay, so we'll do fire department on the next one. And,
Thank you.
Yep,
That would be the August 31st, correct? Or are we gonna keep the August 24th?
we'll have to discuss that.
Okay.
So it is possible, we might need an August 24th meeting to plug that in so that we've got all the numbers for the August 31st, but
all right.
yeah, we'll decide that, whatever works best, because for August 31st, that's our proposed budget, 2022 for taxes, wait, that's actually 2023. So that's supposed to be, it's not our final look, it would be somewhere September 7th, so.
Well, if there's no major changes, we could still do it on the 31st, and like I said, I haven't heard anything from Jake. I reached out to him a couple times. I know
Okay.
he's busy, so.
Yeah, he is. He's he's hard to get a hold of sometimes. He works for a living and he has a large family, so.
Right.
He's a busy man. Okay,
Okay,
we'll hope that it's gonna stay flat.
right.
But, okay, so what areas do we need to cover? I've got training that's listed down here. Training would be for, Public Works employees. It'll also be for city staff. So, any recommendations on that or any numbers? I think the only training that we would be looking at would be for Paul and for his sewer license. Do you, Ross, know whether or not he can get his sewer license this year, or would he have to go into next year?
He's supposed to be, he's supposed to have applied for the test.
Okay,
And because of COVID, everything got so backed up. So I think the last one they did, Zoom. So if he can do that again, hopefully he'll get it before the end of the year.
okay,
That's what I'm kind of hoping he will, so.
okay. So should we be budgeting any dollars different than what we do right now for training?
You know, how much is in there right now, do you know?
That's what I'm looking to try to find.
The training and
This,
instruction,
Yes,
2,000,
is that what we have budgeted?
Yeah.
that's what we, yes, for 2022, that's what we.
Okay,
Now, is any certifications, does that come out of a different fund? Anything that has to be recertified if,
meaning like training for the fire department, like first
Well-
aid or?
well, even like Mike Kriz or, is that out of a different fund or is that out of training and instruction?
So fire department has their own training.
Right.
Public Works, and fire department, actually, you budgeted last year 5,000,
Okay.
not 2 or
Right,
3.
and that would be for new firefighters.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, like for you, Mary, or?
That comes out of administration,
Oh,
and
it does.
that is budgeted at 2,000.
Okay, and that's the same for Public Works? What does that come out of? Recertifications?
It's gonna be the,
They have their own.
Same one?
Their own one.
Their own.
Okay, all right.
I don't
It
know.
was like $500 for their.
Yeah,
meeting,
it's
something.
pretty insignificant
Okay.
because their training is usually free where they go to. It's usually put on by Ziegler.
And Mary does have, annual clerk treasurer training, that she goes to in March, right?
Yes,
Is that part of the $2,000 that we budget then?
Yes.
yes.
And that covers that adequately.
As far as I know, I have not looked to see what the
Okay.
cost was. I was trying to look back at previous history and,
Okay, it has for the past couple of years, so.
so,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so as I'm flipping through, it looks like we need to talk about our commissions, which would be Economic Development Commission, Park and Rec Commission, HPC, Planning Commission. So any feedback on the commissions? What we've done for the commissions is instead of them each having their own fund for like postage and mailings and that type of thing, we just combined it all into administration, so it's really under one fund, and whatever needs to come out for postage comes out of that one specific fund. That was a recommendation from Opto, so.
Okay, so then, when we were talking, Ross and Larry, on the administrative side, we dropped that, but that's why if you had included all HPC, so maybe you wanna relook at that.
Okay.
Well, we had 2,000 budgeted for 2021 and 1,000 for last year. And
Was that for the Park and Rec?
No, this is the administration for postage.
Oh, okay,
And so, last year we budgeted 1,000, there's still $820 in the balance.
Yep.
So, I don't know if we need to raise it or just leave it at 1,000, what we've already budgeted for, or plugged in when we talked yesterday.
and that covers all of the departments, all commissions,
I guess
everybody.
if this
Yeah.
is the correct
Yeah,
number.
what,
It is,
what fund is that? Did we consolidate them under?
Under the general fund, and it would
Ah.
be, 322.
322.
Thank you.
okay, so it sounds like the commissions will remain the same, we've got the postage and all the supplies covered. Okay, what else do we need to cover? Community center, funding for the community center, I know that that's Mary Murphy.
I think that's in that letter that you were reading, community center.
Okay, well, let me glance at this. It says, yeah, for the CERT team, that's for a laptop. Community center, she says $5,000 for the community center. It's to build the funds for next year as they need to build their balance back up again. We did take money out of that fund when we purchased a street sweeper. That would be for maintenance of the Public Works building. It's gonna need to be cleaned, possibly painted. So that'd be an increase from 2,000 to 5,000. That's Mary's recommendation. Mary Murphy. So thoughts on that? Community center?
It does need a little work. Need a new sign too.
Mhm.
That should come well under 2 or 5 though, I would think, right?
2 or 5,000?
Yes.
Same? I would hope so.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I know Mary Murphy is working on that for who can paint it. I think she's trying to find somebody who's able to do it.
I think so.
So, thoughts on the $5,000 for the community center? It's an increase, but we were at $8,000 for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And then it was reduced to $2,000 because they felt, well, the work has been done. After the kitchen remodeled,
Yep.
the ceiling painted, the inside painted.
I think we should just go with Mary's recommendation of 5, because she's
Yeah.
been with that for years and she's the expert on it, so.
Okay.
And what was Mary's reasoning again? I'm sorry.
For the
behind-
$5,000?
For the increase of 3,000?
The painting of the sign, exterior maintenance on it, there's some siding that needs to be replaced, possibly painting the building, but she wasn't sure if it can just be power washed, how will it look after it's washed versus painting. She doesn't say in her email to me specifically why it's $5,000. We can question that at our next meeting too and say, why is it 5,000, so we have an answer, just like the fire department.
If we can.
Yeah, we certainly can.
Okay.
So, okay, that'd be good. Sewer replacement is remaining the same. We just discussed the community center, the fire pension fund. That's something that I know that we are now in PIRA for that, so it takes away some of the risk. But I thought that the fire chief had said that the city may have to do some matching dollars. You may want to find out about that, Troy. Because if we have to budget for it, we have to budget for it. I hope we don't. If we do, that'll be a little surprising because we were told we wouldn't have to with going into PIRA.
It might be if the state's fund drops down, we might have to kick in, but
Right.
that's probably, I would just guess,
Insignificant.
yeah, or in a recession, once every 10 years or
Yeah.
something, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something you need to budget for.
Okay. We may have to. We'll let Troy find that out from the chief.
Yeah.
Because if we've got to fund the pension fund.
Yeah.
So we can't just say, nope, sorry, not gonna do that, so. Okay, we do have, tax increment, TIF districts, one that will be retiring next year. It's the apartments north of the Lutheran Church. I think it's Nolde, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's that TIF district, so that'll be expiring. I think that's $15,000 of revenue that'll come to the city, half of that actually. Okay, just flipping through. I don't see anything else unless I'm missing something. We've already funded for the capital equipment fund, which we know is gonna probably be fire truck. That's everything. Unless there's anything else anybody else needs to discuss for now. The important thing is we're gonna need to have numbers plugged in. We've got some questions for the next meeting on, the fire department and also the community center, pretty minor. So the question then is, do we skip the August 24th meeting and bring that information in on the 31st of August? We can do that. It'll give Mary more time.
Yeah, I would be okay with, and would it possible we'd have an updated printout by then?
That's what we're shooting for.
Does that make that easier for you?
It
Do
would,
that, okay.
yeah, cause my hands are kind of tied until,
Obdo gets
Yeah.
through with, yeah, because every time Obdo does the bank reconciliation, she loses her laptop. Because they actually take over remotely to do the reconciliation, so she's sitting there saying, I can't use my laptop, and that's what she needs to produce the
so
report.
I am hoping that this week, I'll be able to move to the desktop and then they won't take over my time.
Right.
It's just a matter of timing to get everybody happy.
And I really don't expect anything out of the ordinary from Jake,
Yeah.
other than these questions. He hasn't said anything to me, so.
Yeah. I doubt it. That's the only question that I had was, and I don't mind which way is it for.
Right,
Is it for
right.
medical runs? I'm guessing it's for medical runs. Because we were taking a pounding on medical runs. At one time, we were making almost 100 runs a year. And if you look at the cost for the equipment to make 100 runs, and we're maybe collecting on 25% of it. But I know Jake has done a great job of trying to make sure they're making runs when it's really necessary. For a while, it was a new program. Whenever there was a call, boy, everybody ran to it. It was exciting, and then it kind of got old. Because, you know, you don't need 16 firefighters to help somebody out who fell down. Yeah, exactly, so they've got their, I'm responding, and they know that they have, I think, 2 firefighters who will respond to the truck, the rescue truck, and that's enough, and so I think the runs have gone down significantly, so. Okay, I think we've hit everything we can for now, we're gonna meet again, skip the next Wednesday meeting, that way it gives Mary the opportunity to plug in information. I'm gonna be assisting Mary with numbers to make sure they all get put in. Hopefully at the next meeting, which will be on the 31st, we can put the fire department stuff in, get the question answered on the community center, and then we'll look at what the overall budget looks like, and hopefully we're at least flat with it. So a reduction is always nice, but again, we need to make sure we fund everything properly so the next administration has some money to work with, so. Yeah. Okay, I think we've hit as much as we can for today. Then I will entertain a motion to recess.
So moved.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Troy.
Mayor, one thing, we did have debts on here.
Okay,
Have we covered that, or are we gonna?
which debt for,
Well, it just says debts. Is this under pay raises and review and debts? I see it on the,
Is that TIF? The
is that what you,
Is that,
August 17th?
oh yeah, pay raise reviews and debts, yeah, debt services, that would
Debt
be.
service.
Yeah, debt services, that would be the payment on the city hall, the payment on the well, those don't change.
Okay.
I have the years when those are paid off, I just don't have them with me. I think the fire hall pays off, or the city hall pays off in 5 years, because it was a 25-year loan.
Yep.
And so we got 5 more years in the city hall, and that will produce $40,000 a year in revenue to the city, or revenue the city can keep, so. Okay, anything else that we need to discuss? We'll gladly discuss it on the 31st, and we'll have as many meetings as we need to until we've got it all in place. So I have a motion to recess by Larry. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are on recess. Thank you for your time.